Dana White is starting off 2025 with a bang, with a night of 2 title fights in one night. The lightweight and bantamweight belts will both be on the line at 311 and will cap off this absolutely stacked card. Lucas, let's break this card down, starting off at the top.
Yeah, we got Islam Makhachev versus Arman Tsarukyan. It's the fight to make.
Yeah.
It was rumored for months.
Yeah, we were even seeing this potentially like end of summer, early fall. There was potential for this fight. And
then Islam had that, I think, thumb injury. Mm-hmm. So now we're finally getting it. I'm sure Arman is pretty relieved to have this locked down because it was maybe looking like it was going to get pushed back or it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, and then if you push it back so far, maybe then you got Charles in there, like
exactly.
Max Holloway.
So it's good to see that this is the number one contender versus the champion. It's what we need to see. What are your thoughts on the chances for Arman to get it done?
I'm not as confident as Arman as everyone else is. I think that just the experience of Islam.
Yeah.
You know? Arman's just still young and trying to beat the champ in Islam, who just has way more 5-round experience, has beaten legendary fighters. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just struggle to see Arman being able to get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the odds, we looked at them earlier, they're minus 250 for Islam right now.
And plus 200 for Arman. Yeah. And especially if we look at how both of them beat Charles. Islam manhandled Charles. Arman barely beat Charles. Some people even think that he lost to Charles.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the thing that I'm looking at the most is Islam's past fights. He had his past fight versus Dustin Poirier, and that didn't fill me with confidence.
Yeah, but I think that he had it in a lower gear.
Right. He did have staff as well.
Yeah.
I think people aren't remembering that. He was not the best, but I feel like you can always make those excuses, right? Mm-hmm. Like with any one of Islam's fight, you can make the excuse. People are making excuses for his first performance against Volk, and then people are saying, oh, then he KO'd Volk. Well, it's on short notice, Volk, so it doesn't count. And then you fight, he fought Charles Oliveira. I think that's considered his most legit win, submitting Charles Oliveira, who was at the prime of his prime. I just don't see how Arman is going to be better at any single thing. He's not, in my opinion, he's not better at wrestling. He's definitely not better at striking. He doesn't have as good at kicks. He has good body kicks, but that's about it. I think Islam is just a little bit better in every single facet of his game.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Islam's going to be the favorite there.
Yeah.
Could Arman pull off the upset? Obviously.
Oh, 100%.
It's the UFC.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think Arman's going to be able to submit him or KO him. I think if Arman wins, his realest chance is going to be a 48-47 decision.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the co-main, our other title fight. For the bantamweight belt, the champ Merab versus number 2 ranked Umar Nurmagomedov.
This fight came out of nowhere.
Yeah. We were like, all right, it's going to happen post-Ramadan now, and then boom.
Yeah, there was pretty much no talk about this for the last week, and then Dana White hops on his phone, and he's like, guys, I got some banger fights for you.
Well, and it's so interesting, too, because December 14th Umar was supposed to fight Song Yadong, and then now a month later he's fighting for the belt, which is crazy, too.
I forgot about that. Yeah. That feels like it was a fever dream. Yeah, Song Yadong, the guy.
Yeah. Now he's moving on to Merab.
Yeah. I think, is it fair? Well, if you look at the bantamweight rankings right now, there really is no one else. He's number 2 contender. The only one above him is Sean O'Malley, which just lost to Merab, so that fight doesn't really make sense for a rematch. It was competitive in some rounds and then domination in other rounds. I don't need to see it again right now, though. And then you have Sandhagen further down. Obviously, we're not going to see Sandhagen fight for the belt. Peter Yan is the only other shout where it's like he could have gotten.
Yeah, the only 2 bantamweights with enough main value to fight for the belt coming off of a win. Yeah. Peter Yan and Mario Batista.
And look, I understand the argument of Peter Yan deserves it more. I think he does deserve it more.
But the timeline's just not there.
Well, what doesn't make sense is why would you give Peter Yan a title shot when he got absolutely ragdolled?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? It was 50-45, right?
Or, yeah.
49-46, maybe.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it was domination from Merab. So do I want to see Peter Yan go out there and, again, get laid on for a couple rounds and maybe land a couple strikes? Not really. Also, the fact that Khabib is going to have to corner
2 fights
back to back.
Imagine Khabib went 0 for 2.
Career over. He's retiring.
Khabib don't lose, except for Bilal versus Shavkat.
The gym is retiring if he goes 0 for 2 on this card.
And it would be within a month span of losing three people because he corners Bilal.
He did in his last fight, but Bilal's not fighting. What are you
Bilal's. Oh yeah, he's not fighting versus Shavkat.
What are you
What an absolute casual I am.
I was like, what are you talking about?
I'm like, the fight's tomorrow, and I'm like, yeah, Bilal versus Shavkat.
Yeah, this guy's
Let's go, boys.
That's hilarious.
Shavkat coming over with the belt.
Next up the card in the featured spot right now. I think surely this has to change.
Yeah, it's gonna move down.
It's Beneil Dariush versus Renato Moicano, which literally just got announced yesterday. A bit of a surprise.
Yeah, we talked about this in a previous video, talking about how I personally don't love this matchup. I think that there's much better things that Moicano could do riding this high. His stock is as high as it's ever been, and then you just give him Dariush.
Yeah, and even the rankings, he's number 10, Renato Moicano ranked number 10 versus Beneil Dariush ranked number 9. It's not like Moicano's going to jump up the rankings.
Yeah.
He's trying to make a title run, which is great. I want him to make a title run. Why are you taking the number 9 fighter? I think it's an easier fight for him.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's the easiest fight for maybe in the whole division.
Yeah. I think he just wants money at the end of the day.
Maybe.
Like he's trying to get one more payday in before 2024. Tax write-off.
Yeah, but like, here's the thing is like, why couldn't we have had a Moicano versus Hooker? Certified banger, and then those guys are one fight away from the belt. You know?
Yeah, there's so much stuff you could do with Moicano
obviously.
because he's one of the most exciting people in the division. Beneil Dariush coming off 2 back-to-back losses to Armin first round KO and Charles first round KO. So he's on a bit of a slippery slope right now. He's also older, obviously. So
From the gray hair.
yes. Are we going to see Beneil Dariush be able to come back against not as much of a powerful puncher in the lightweight division,
But a violent puncher.
yeah, I'd say violent elbows, violent ground
Yeah.
and pound, but he is primarily a ground specialist.
Yeah, but I think they both have good wrestling and good grappling, but I think I'm just going to favor Moicano just because I think he's better. And just with Dariush's age and his last 2 fights, coming off those first 2 first-round KOs, it's like, ooh.
Yeah. And I guess it's been a while since his last fight, so he's taken a bit of a layoff. I could see 2 more like domination fights and he retires.
Honestly, yeah. Like, if you just get dominated, like,
It's not fun anymore. Like, why
Yeah.
would you want to fight?
maybe stick around, we'll feed you Oral By.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Or Oral By will feed on you.
Yeah. All right, let's move down the card. We got Yuri Prohaska versus Jamal Hill.
This should surely be the featured fight.
Yeah, and I was thinking it'll probably get fight of the night.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
It's going to be a banger.
Unless we had an early finish, but 'cause both guys' chins, you never know, like Yuri's chin. But,
right.
but the thing is with this is like Yuri's like, yeah, coming out of the cave, I'm going to need 2 or 3 more fights before I get back to the belt. Like, this is 2 versus 3 ranked. Like, if Ankalaev wins this fight, the winner of this fight fights Ankalaev.
If Jamal Hill he wins, he definitely fights Ankalaev
Yeah,
because
I mean-
that's a fresh.
Yeah.
But so is Yuri Prohaska then. He's fresh as well. I think maybe the winner of this fight fights for the belt, and then the loser of this fight fights down the rankings, probably against Carlos Olberg,
Or
Khalil
Uzdemir.
Roundtree. No, Uzdemir's too far now. They don't want to push him.
That's true.
Well, you have Khalil Roundtree and Carlos Olberg.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 guys coming up. So I'd be happy to see any of those fights. How do we think this fight realistically goes?
I think it's going to be a 3-round fight. I think we probably get a 3-round decision, 29-28 win for either of them.
Really?
I don't know if either of them will put the other one out. I just think that they're going to be a little bit standoffish, just knowing what the others can do. And I do think it'll be good, but I just don't think that we're going to see a highlight KO from one of these 2 guys.
Interesting.
I would love to see Yuri Prohaska hit Jamal Hill with the spinning elbow.
Yeah, that would be sick. This is tough because I've gone on record and said on our hot takes video that Jamal Hill could outclass Yuri Prohaska
Oh, I think so too. I think he's better than Yuri.
because of the amount of damage Yuri's taken. But how satisfying would it be to see Yuri?
Yeah, I can't predict Jamal Hill.
I know.
Can't do that.
I know.
Especially with this goofy, like the stuff that came out about Pereira that we talked about in another video. Like, man, he's just goofy.
I think early predictions, screw it. I'll go with Jamal Hill.
I'll go Yuri then. I guess we're buying a Czechia flag. That's our versus in this. And moving on to the last fight of the main card, Kevin Holland versus RDR. Kevin Holland all day. RDR is a fraud.
He's not a fraud, he's the one double champ, but I think what we saw against him versus GM3, it's not looking good, bruv. He's not going to be a top 5
My Dutch brother, like, nope.
Yeah.
He looks like he could be from our town, though.
He's a weird guy.
I mean, ideally with Kevin Holland, we'll see how he comes back from that broken rib. We never really got to see the full fight when he fought against, what's his name?
Roman Dolidze?
Yep, the Georgian guy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think this fight, Kevin Holland's going to try to take it to the ground.
Yeah, this one's difficult because I haven't watched much of RDR. I don't watch one promotion very much. So I think he's decent on the ground. But again, what we saw from GM3, like GM3 is not a high level striker. He's good on the ground, which is maybe why RDR struggled a little bit. But then again, Kevin Holland is also, I think he's a black belt, right?
He's a black belt.
So I don't think RDR is going to be able to take Kevin Holland down and hold him down very well. Kevin Holland is a high level fighter. He's been fighting in the UFC for so long. He's taken, well, I guess he's going to be taking as many fights now with this fight as John Jones has, and they have wildly different.
Kevin Holland started 10 years later.
Yeah, exactly.
2018, John Jones started 2008.
Yeah, exactly. So Kevin Holland's been super active. I like that for him. I hope he took enough time to recover from that rib injury.
Yeah.
Because that's always a...
Ribs heal pretty quick.
Do they?
Yeah.
I've never had a rib injury.
But I think he'll be fine, and I hope he beats RDR and just like sends RDR packing.
It feels weird that Kevin Holland doesn't have a ranking next to his name anymore.
Yeah, but he's ranked in welterweight, isn't he?
Nothing
He
anymore.
got booted from the welterweight rank?
He's gone, brother.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
All right, now we're just going to touch about a few big prelim fights. First off, Johnny Walker versus Bogdan Guskov.
Banger.
I think Johnny Walker wins this fight.
Who, I don't know. Guskov, I believe he's coming off the win against Ryan Spann.
But I want Johnny Walker to win.
Guskov has a ton of power. He's from Uzbekistan, which is the same place where Shavkat's from originally. So that's kind of a little bit tidbit of knowledge for you guys. He's ranked 14 right now against Johnny Walker, who's ranked number 10. So Guskov could move up a little bit in the rankings. And then he has a lot of fun matchups for him in that like 9 to 5 range. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of decent light heavyweights where it would be a stand and bang war. Guskov gets hit a lot in his fights. So I believe Johnny Walker is going to be able to land strikes like he usually does. He's massive for the division. He has massive range. He has good knees. But against anyone who Johnny Walker has fought who has really powerful striking, he's gotten KO'd.
Yeah.
I have no confidence in his chin or his IQ.
It's cooked. It's cooked. It should be a finish. We'll get a finish for sure to cap off the prelims.
Yeah, and I think personally I'm going to go with Bogdan Guskov.
I might actually be more sensible and go with Guskov, but
you never know with Johnny Walker.
The fan of me wants Johnny Walker. You never know. Highlight KO.
Know. Exactly.
All right, moving on. Another one that's going to be a banger, surely. The next big thing, UFC's top prospect, Peyton Talbot, makes his return against Raoni Barcelos.
Yeah, should be a good fight. I think Peyton Talbot, it's not the biggest test. It's also not a layup. Like, he's a decent fighter. Yeah. This one has been not rumored. It's pretty much been official for months now.
Yeah.
Like, this got announced super, super early. So, Peyton Talbot fight, it's always going to be a banger. I think he's probably going to show out again, try and look for a first, second round finish.
I think first round finish kind of thing, and just lead him into that Garbrandt fight. I want it so bad.
Yeah, we need the Garbrandt fight.
I want it so bad. Even though I don't want to see Garbrandt lose. Love the guy, but that's what I want to see.
And then we got Jailton Almeida versus Sergey Spivak. This is the last one we'll touch on.
Sergey Spivak, great fighter.
It's a mandatory. You have to say it every time. Well, it seems like a bit of a mismatch for me. I think Jailton Almeida is really going to just keep this on the ground and quite easily win a decision. Sergey Spivak, I don't think he's going to have the power to put out Jailton Almeida like Curtis Blades did. I just think this is going to be a bit of a sleeper. Like, I'm literally going to sleep through this fight.
Yeah, it's probably going to be a stinker. I think realistically, the winner of this fight probably gets the loser of Gon Volkov.
Maybe. If Jailton Almeida wins, 100%.
Yeah. And then, because I think that maybe we'll get like Pavlovich Blades next, because their timelines line up a little bit better than these guys. But
that would
you
be
never
nice.
know.
Yeah, you never know.
But heavyweight's just kind of a mess. They all just have already fought each other 4 times. So.
Yeah. I love this card. It's looking like a banger. It's starting off the year really great. Let us know, what is your most anticipated fight other than the main event, obviously. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.
See ya.